my name is Aziz Janazimi. I'm the founder and chairman of TajRupt. It is my distinct privilege to have you all here today for a discussion on cyber warfare, an important topic in international affairs today. You guys are members of our Model United Nations course, and you'll be debating the topic of cyber warfare, simulating the work of the United Nations Security Council, one of the, if not the most important organ of the United Nations. So you're all here today to come together to solve an important global issue. So over the past couple of weeks, you've learned about different theoretical concepts. Now it's time for you to practically put into practice your experiences and knowledge. So today, I know that we're going to be giving out, best delegate for first place, outstanding delegate for second place, and honorable delegate for third place. But what is really the most important and valuable, skill that you can gain from Model UN is working with other people. Okay? As I have told you guys before, an opponent in discussion is a friend in life. So keep that in mind and showcase the best of your negotiation skills, of your diplomacy skills, and just your friendship skills. So the way this is going to work is that Fariza, who is your instructor, will be the chair for this session, and I will be judging you guys and we'll give out the awards at the end of the session. The session should last anywhere from 1 hour to 1 hour 15 minutes long, depending on the flow that you guys go through. And we published a background guide on our website yesterday. I hope everybody got to read the background guide. And there's the flow of debate there, so you can motion for a moderated caucus, which is an official discussion, and an unmoderated caucus, which is a more informal talk where rules are suspended. You can have points. If you have a question to the chair, you can say point of information. If you think there's a mistake in procedure, you can say point of order to correct the chair. Point of personal privilege is if you have a problem with hearing or speaking. So if you can't hear somebody speak, you can say point of personal privilege, interrupt them, and kind of ask, honorable delegate, can you please speak louder? Okay? So the way we're going to go through is the most important document for this simulation is, what is it called? Great, resolution. So resolution is, I give out to you guys the verbs that you should use. It should have preambulatory clauses, right? At least, 3 to 4, and then operative clauses, around 5 to 6. And we all gave you guys pieces of paper to write your resolutions on. If at any point in time you need extra paper, just send a quick note to me or to the chair, and we're going to pass around the paper to you, okay? So we'll begin with a perpetual moderated caucus, where you have to set the speaking time. But before we begin, are there any other questions that you guys have today? No? Okay. And I would like to thank the host learning participants for coming in and analyzing this discussion. Thank you for coming, folks. So I hope you'll have a great, debated discussion. I've done modeling for 10 years, and I don't think I've ever been this excited to be participating as both an organizer or delegate. So I really look forward, and hopefully this is the first experience and definitely not the last one. So let's go forward. Good luck, delegates.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll begin with something called roll call. So I'm going to say your country's name, and if you're in here, you have to say present, okay?
Okay.
Let's begin. So, delegate of China.
Present.
Delegate of China is present. France.
Present.
Delegate of France is present, excuse me. Russian Federation.
Present.
Delegate of Russian Federation is present. The United Kingdom.
Present.
Delegate of the United Kingdom is present. The United States of America.
Present and voting.
The delegate of the United States is present and voting. Bolivia. Bolivia.
Present.
Delegate of Bolivia is present. Egypt.
Present.
Arab Republic of Egypt is present. Ethiopia.
Present.
The delegate of Ethiopia is present. Italy.
Present.
The delegate of Italy is present. Japan.
Present.
The delegate of Japan is present. Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan. The delegate of Kazakhstan is not present. Senegal. Senegal is present. Sweden.
Present.
The delegate of Sweden is present. Ukraine. The delegate of Ukraine is not present. Uruguay.
Present.
The delegate of Uruguay is present. So today we have 13 delegations in presence, which means that to pass a resolution, you will need to have 7 votes in favor, folks. 7 votes. Obviously, counting the fact that the permanent members have to either abstain or support the resolution. Okay? So with that, I'll pass it on to your chair, Fariza, to officially and formally begin the debate.
Dear delegates, welcome to Security Council. We are starting preparatory moderated caucus, and we begin now. Other points or motion on the floor? Yes, friends.
The delegate of France motions for 10 minutes of moderated caucus within 30 seconds of speaking time.
Okay, thank you, friends. Are there any portions or motion on the floor? Seeing none, we have only one motion on the floor, and it is moderate caucus with timing speaking 30 seconds and the lasting 10 minutes. The delegates who are in favor, please raise your placards. Okay. Seeing a majority, we can say that this motion passed. Okay, now we are in a moderated caucus. We speaking 30 seconds each delegate, and it will last 10 minutes. Any delegates wishing to speak? Okay, thank you very much. We start with France.
You can begin.
In recent years, cyber warfare has become an issue of much concern among the major nations on the planet. As the world becomes more networked, more crucial systems become susceptible to attacks in cyberspace. We believe that our offensive cyber capabilities must allow us to breach the systems and networks of our enemies to cause damage, service suspensions, or definitive neutralizations. And we all must work together to get that problem under control. Thank you.
Thank you, delegation of France. Any other wish to speak? The United Kingdom? You can start.
Dear friends, today we met here to discuss the problem of cyber warfare. Just imagine that you are looking for proofs of murdering. There are a lot of people who saw that. Will you just believe them? Of course you won't. So let's do the same in our situation. Russian hackers hacked the American elections. Also, they hacked the server of Brexit. So in that case, it was proved that they didn't do that. But in case with elections, it still wasn't. So I think that we have to make it clear and then think about punishments. Thank
you. The United Kingdom. Any other delegates wish to speak? The United States. You can start.
Honorable Delegate, the delegation of United States is worried about the problem with cyber warfare. We can say one country is like one family. And is it pleasant for you when somebody unfamiliar comes to your personal things and interrupts your family's personal things? Of course, it's unpleasant. So the same thing with countries. We can note there were many problems with cyber attacks in our presidential elections and in France's presidential elections too, in where the country attacked with the help of cyber warfare.
Thank you, the United States. Are there any speakers wish to speak? Senegal.
Dear delegates, ladies and gentlemen, the cyber warfare is an issue that needs to be addressed and deal with them. Republic of Senegal firmly believe that created streamly and cyber framework protection from the bandwidth system, security and missile laundering program are hanged. Senegal current cyber spatial security leaves to be desired as well as that many countries. Senegal strongly support the international solution to the problems.
Thank you, delegation of Senegal. Any other speakers speak? China.
Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that cyber warfare nowadays became a great deal for all countries. One country blames another in faking its elections. But where are reliable evidences from disinterested side in such conflicts? Our solution is to organize special UN Cybersecurity Committee, which will overlook the IP addresses of every country and keep international cyber borders. If any infractions are caught, we propose to punish that countries. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, delegation of China. Any other wish to speak?
Others wish to speak?
Sweden.
Good afternoon. In Swedish, good afternoon. Honorable delegates and chair. The Kingdom of Sweden, with its capital Stockholm, is one of the developed countries with a mix of unique cultural traditions, tech leaders, globally oriented startups, and smart government policies. And the Sweden also is one of a number of countries hit by a cyber attack affecting several companies and government agencies. And the
Thank you, delegation of Sweden. Time's up.
thank you.
Any other wish to speak? Ethiopia, please.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Good afternoon, dear delegates. Today we gathered here to discuss about big problem in the world like cyber attacks, cyber warfare. The most likely victims of such attacks, cyber attacks, are organizations that we all have to trust, like medical institutions, financial institutions, large retailers, and so on. In general, in 2016, companies around the world lost about $450 billion in the world due to constant attacks by hackers. Ethiopia is facing a growing number of cyber attacks in recent months. It was able to prevent...
Yes, you need to stop right now because the time is up. Thank you. Please note that you need to speak only 30 seconds. Thank you, delegation of Ethiopia. Any other speakers who wish to speak? Japan.
Good afternoon to everybody. My name is Zebo and I'm a representative of the Japan. As we all know, cyber attack is one of the most important problems in the world. So cyber attack applies to all countries of the world. Said, imagine a situation that you're sitting in the home and somebody attacks your house. This situation is all over the world too. In my opinion, internet is a serious problem for the cyber attack. And 1.5 million...
Time is up. Thank you, delegation of Japan. Any other speakers wish to speak? Bolivia.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The delegation of Bolivia believes that cyber attacks are really important and large problem in the world. So we can decide this problem by punish, and we offer to punish them hackers hardly, like put them to the prison like for 20 years if they stole some much money. If, as said, the representatives of Ethiopia in this year was stolen like $450 billion. That's why it's important. Thank you. I rest my case.
Thank you very much, delegation of Bolivia. Any other wish to speak? Seeing none, do we have any motions or points? Yes, delegation of Uruguay.
Hello, the honorable delegates. So, delegation of Uruguay think that cyber warfare is one of the biggest issues in the world. So, and we all get here in order not to discuss about this problem, but to solve this. So, imagine that, for example, in U.S. elections, when Russia was hacking their elections, so it was very big issue in the world. So it should be punished. So we get here not only to discuss this problem. So we should need we have like this punishment.
Thank you, Uruguay. Are there any speakers wish to speak? Seeing none, are there any motions or points on the floor? Yes, the delegation of China.
The delegation of China motions for an unmoderated caucus for 10 minutes.
Thank you very much. Are there any motions or points on the floor? Seeing none, we have one motion for unmoderated caucus with 10 minutes. Any delegates in favor? Seeing majority, this motion passed. So we are in 10 minutes unmoderated caucus. You can leave your seats and discuss the issues.
Or just the name of the company.
Name.
Yes.
Where's your paper? United States.
What?
Yeah, United States.
Yes. What are you talking
Do you
about?
have any sponsor? What are you mostly talking about? No.
silent without reading.
No, we're fine.
I can.
So, to put sanctions on the country, authorizes.
It's a fault of United States.
Есть можно утверждать санкции на Эмбалом, земля, экспорт.
Дүйен вариант экранизация security.
Security. Точно? Главное.
Cyber security. Просто security, не cyber security. Как бы...
Janela Cruziko Cyber Security.
Мегафон атака.
Взломать, взломать.
Which will like
The countries which
other control countries that are
So does it hack it or not? Like this?
or if and like after creating this committee, if Russia
Should pay a money.
United States is paid, or
손이 punishment 야 이거 내가 아쉬운 점 때문에 Może a ne sigurno ne ход представляю, что я не мешаю, как я машу.
We need to make one company, one great company, international company, which will
What do United Nations want to create a
Yes.
company?
international make the solution of this.
Calls upon creating. Right, that calls upon creating.
We offer you money.
do you want to be on the signatories?
이제 몇 아마 이제 몇 아마 그렇지 않아 대박
Yes.
Like prevent, detect, and respond.
Do you want to be our sponsor?
Sponsor them.
But you can be our secretary too. Don't measure.
Do you have any plan? Against what? So I mean, if you're a sponsor, I want to.
Розман в тысячах.
Ты получается ты Роза за их
It means that
дальше
you're
не сможешь подписать.
Did you sign?
You see this?
And this helps. What about you, Zebo?
Do not write your name. Do not put signatures on.
Hey, Imran.
Imran?
Three more.
We'd like to see more debate, so come on.
Go to
Should we read that? Should we separate it?
So, okay, where are the, these are preemptory, right?
Yes.
So write preempts, preempts, that's it, and then here, right, this is the operative, right? Just put operative. With O. Okay, and let's just check the, are you guys submitting it? Yes. So USA, France are sponsors, Senegal, Ethiopia, Egypt, Sweden are signatories. Great, thank you very much. So we're gonna call this resolution 1.1. Thank you.
30 seconds.
Come on folks, wrap it up. Russia, please take your seat.
Delegation of Senegal, please take your seat. China, take your seat. Take your seat, please. China.
1 minute.
You have to give.
Here are sponsors, here are signators. It's a draft resolution.
Okay, do you want to introduce it later?
Yes.
So, it's registered, right? Why it's 2 pages?
A punishment. So it's 2 pages.
Maybe
It's
it's
a
not
draft
used
resolution.
You have to. Where's my pen? Here.
Are there any other points of motions? You know, we look favorably upon motions for a moderated caucus, a short one, just to introduce your ideas first. Are there any points or motions? France?
The delegate of France motions for a moderated caucus for 5 minutes with a 30-second speaking time.
Thank you, delegate of France.
Who is in favor? Please raise your placards if you are in favor. There is a motion for 5 minutes moderated caucus. Time speaking is 30 seconds. Raise your placards if you are in favor.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this motion passed. Now we are in 5 minutes of moderated caucus. Time speaking 30 seconds.
Should
Are
say
there any
status of
speakers?
our resolution? Introduce our resolution?
Introduce your positions, like what you are planning to do. Okay.
Okay.
Are there any speakers who wish to speak? Italy? Yes, sir.
I run our position about it. The basic of relationship between Russia and Italy is energy cooperation, which is for its development of infrastructure projects began to begin as they improve our relationship, and if they use a cyber crime, we believe that other countries will support us. And
thank you very much. Are there any speakers who wish? China. You have 30 seconds.
The delegates of China's position is to create a peacekeeper, the UN committee for the UN International Committee, which will overlook for IP addresses from every country and keep cyber borders and cyber warfare. So, with our friends in politics within other countries, we are affirmed to create this committee and to put sanctions.
Thank you, delegation of China. France.
The delegation of France believes that the best response to the cyber attack is to put sanctions against the country which has attacked or interfered the other country. By doing so, the attacker country will suffer economical and in financial way, and it will first of all think another time when it wants to do another attack.
Thank you. Russian Federation.
The delegation of corruption thinks that we should separate the governmental and private hackers, first of all, to figure it out that who is doing governmental and who is doing the hackings privately, so we can charge a lot, like a big amount of money from the private hackers who are using their own computer to steal the different countries' information or just money. And they can pay that a big amount of money and not try to do hacking again.
Thank you very much. Any others wish to speak? Bolivia?
The delegation of Bolivia believes that we have to create or form some organization or organs that will do only keeping borders in cyber warfare, like FBI, but we will call it another way, like SBI, like Cyber Bureau of Investigation. It's like this. Thank you. I rest my case.
Thank you very much. Are there Japan?
The delegate of Japan wants to find out first of all who restored the data. After it, who did it. For example, in the presidential election in America, a little bit Russian influence in it, and that's why to find out who did it, and with the way of politics to find out friendly or unfriendly to solve it. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Any other wish to speak? Senegal?
The delegation of the Senegal Republic believes that when there is a cyber attacks, that country should gather stakeholder groups for that, and our country believes that when in our country there is any cyber cause, most of the country helped us, like our United States, France, and China. Most of the country help us, and we have to start to discuss and develop a national cybersecurity strategy and policy.
Thank you very much. The United States.
The delegation of the United States supports the opinion of Bolivia's delegation and knows that we should make one strong company like UNICEF or UNESCO to control the cyber attacks, and the punishment can be to make sanctions against those countries which make attacks, and it may cause the making law their economic, and they will think before doing something. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Are there any speakers? Ethiopia?
So the delegate of Ethiopia thinks that the solution would be to integrate the entire security infrastructure into flexible and customizing security system that's appropriate for protecting specific environments from specific attacks. And this would allow not only to detect and analyze attacks, but also to repulse those who are behind them. And also the delegate of Ethiopia thinks that countries should establish such big organizations like cyber defense organization.
Thank you very much. Uruguay. This is last speaker.
So the delegation of Uruguay thinks that we should make an international committee, So we will support US when people will hack another country. So there was not any punishment before, so we would make any punishment because it was not before. So we'll make some punishment, maybe if they hack one country. They will pay money and double money. So we should create like this company international in order to know who is hacking.
Thank you, delegation of Uruguay. Now the time for moderated caucus has ended up. Are there any points or motion on the floor?
Just before that, real quick. So we have two resolutions on the floor right now. Resolution 1.1, sponsors are United States of America and France. Signatories are Senegal, Ethiopia, Egypt, Sweden. And we have resolution 1.2, the sponsors are China and the United Kingdom, and the signatories are Russian Federation, Uruguay, Ethiopia, and France. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, are there any other resolutions that are being written up?
On the floor, United States.
The delegation of United States motion to introduce our resolutions.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any points or motion on the floor right now? So seeing none, we have two motions. The first one made by China. It is 10 minutes of unmoderated caucus. And the other motion made by the United States, it is motion for introducing resolution. So we will go to voting these motions. The first one will go with China, 10 minutes of unmoderated caucus. The delegates who are in favor of 10 minutes unmoderated caucus, please raise your placards. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Seeing 4, this motion fails. So we have second motion, the motion to introduce resolution made by the United States. All delegates who are in favor of this motion. So this motion passes. Now we begin the introduction of resolution.
Okay, so resolution 1.1. Can delegates of France and United States, can you come up to the front? Time to read your resolution. Please make sure to read it slowly and loudly so everybody can hear you. And afterward, you will be given, let's say, 45 seconds each to describe your resolution, okay? Here's the resolution. Somebody read preambles and then operatives. Please begin.
So, honorable delegates, the Security Council, fully believing that the cyber warfare had become one of the most important problems of the 21st century, reaffirming its resolution, which encouraged the countries to work with United Nations bodies aimed at spreading the solution of the problem with cyber warfare. Having heard that very many problems appeared because of cyber attacks among the countries, such like France, United States, Bolivia, Iraq, and others.
We believe that the country which has been attacked must respond in such a way. For example, authorize to put sanctions against the country which made cyber attacks or interfere in the other country. Considers hackers to be recognized as terrorists. Supports stopping crediting the country. Reminds to stop cooperating projects. Calls upon creating one of international company which will control cyber attacks. The automatic sanctions will lead to economic fail and decrease of the country which made attacks. Thank you.
Now you delegates have each about 45 seconds, so you can explain your contributions. So in total, there is 1 minute 30 seconds. I'll tap once when 45 seconds have elapsed, and twice when 1 minute and 30 seconds have elapsed. Okay?
Okay.
You can begin.
Should speak 1 minute and 30 seconds.
45 seconds each.
Okay. So first solution is to put sanction to the country which makes cyber attacks. I support this idea because the cyber attacks which can be from the side of another country, it may be the cause of unsafety and unsecure atmosphere among the population of the country. We can see very many examples in which happened cyber attacks, and it became the very great problem for economic and the social side of the country. For example, the hacking the Sony Pictures, it is a company of United States, and we had the great economic fail because of it. And so another solution considers hackers to be recognized as terrorists. It's the same thing because hackers, they don't use any law just to stop their hacking, and they don't need any permission to hack the computers. And I think that it's not connected with any law, and I think that it's a great.
You can continue. 15 seconds left.
Thank you for your attention.
So I believe that hackers must be recognized as terrorists, because terrorist is a very loud word, and by doing so we will call all the countries and all the nations of the world to control the hackers, because it is very painful when a hackers attack some country or some companies. It can hurt very. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates. Please hand me your resolution. Now, resolution 1.2. Sponsors, you can take your seats. Sponsors are China and the United Kingdom. Am I correct?
Yes.
So you have three preambles first and then operatives. So when you're done, please just read, don't comment. When you're done reading, then I'll give you 1.5 minutes to speak.
Okay, dear delegations, we found a solution of this problem, which we think is the most proper for this great problem. Our preamble clause says, having studied the problem of cyber warfare and realizing the importance of this issue, we fully believe in finding compromise. So the delegation of China, United Kingdom, Uruguay, Ethiopia, France, and Russia decided to authorize to organize special cybersecurity committee which will overlook the IP addresses of every country and keep international cyber borders. In case of any infractions, we propose to put economic sanctions. To just define the cyber hacks, we decided to divide this hacking acts into two groups. First group will be private hackers, which accepting the differences between cyber hacks, we propose, if it is a private hacking, government of those countries should punish this hacker in order of its constitution, and if it's international cyber warfare, the International Committee of United Nations, due to keeping cyber borders, should put economic sanctions, and the United Kingdom will speak more about punishments.
The point of this resolution against the cyber warfare delegation of Russia thinks that we need to punish the countries which hack the other countries, should pay a sanction or amount of money. The resolution should be if the hacked computers are private or governmental. They should be punished separately. So countries who are agreed with us: Russia, Uruguay, Ethiopia, and France.
Okay, so I'll give you 1.5 minutes to explain this resolution. I'll tap once when 45 seconds are left. You can also get points of information. If you have time left, we can get points of information for delegates to ask questions, if there's time. Okay?
Now we can start.
So now our delegation want to speak more about punishment, just to make it clear for you. Our sanctions between countries, it means the international punishment, should be on that side of the country which the most, which brings a lot of amount of money. For example, if Tajikistan makes some hacking acts, we should put sanctions of its export of its goods of nature or some fruits and vegetables. I think that you get my idea. So we should put sanctions on the best side of the country, which brings a lot of money.
So we yield our time to the floor.
You can yield time to questions if you want.
Yeah, we are yielding time to the floor.
So we have about 30 seconds. If any other delegate would like to ask a question, please, Bolivia.
So, delegation of Bolivia have a question to your resolution. So, you say that you will create some organ which will control it. So, and you will put sanctions. So, what will you do if your way of punish will not work? Like, you will put sanctions, but the hacking's gonna continue. What will you do?
Just now I said that we should put sanctions on the most side
I
of
said
the
you
country.
put sanctions.
Please
But
no cross-talk, delegates. No cross-talk. She has time to respond.
So we'll put sanctions on the economic side of the country, which brings a lot amount of money. So the economic of this country will go down, and they will lose a lot of amount of money. Thank you for your attention.
Are there any other points of motion? Yes.
Point of order, is it okay to give the resolution, to rewrite it?
Yeah, so if you accept the motion for unmod, then we'll give back the resolution and you can debate. Can you decrease the unmod just because of the time? We can do 5-minute unmod, not 10 minutes.
All right, there is a motion on the floor. 5 minutes unmoderated caucus. All in favor?
Yes.
Raise your placards. Okay, this motion passed. Now we are in 5 minutes unmoderated caucus.
Where is 1.2? Who has 1.2? Do you have it? Okay. 1.1. You guys can come over, please interact with each other. We'll have a little bit of debate, and then we'll go into the one procedure, okay? So you can go up and then come to see the resolution. If you have amendments, if you want to change resolutions, you can give amendments to the sponsors. Friendly and unfriendly. Okay, so we have two new resolutions. We need a motion to reintroduce and then move into voting to finish debate, okay? So,
I have no edit any new points.
so we need a motion to reintroduce these. Any points or motions on the floor? United States.
The delegation of United States motion to reintroduce our resolution.
Thank you, Delegate. Everybody in favor of reintroducing, raise your placards. Okay, we're going to reintroduce the resolutions. United States and France, come up. You're not going to read it now. You just will explain. You have 30 seconds each. The chair will let you know halfway through the way. And then we'll open up for 2 minutes of questions. Question and answer. Okay? Go up. So just explain what you changed in the resolution.
The delegate of China was asked the question what a country should do if they put sanction and no matter the sanction, they hacked the computers. So we wrote the answer in our resolution, and we wrote that the hackers of the country should be called to International Court of Justice, because we have it in United Nations and it's their responsibility, and we think that they should solve the problem with cyber warfare too. So that's why we think that the International Court of Justice can, after putting sanctions, solve this problem.
We believe that, for example, now the International Court of Justice is doing successfully its job, and all the countries that like they are afraid only of International Court of Justice, and if this problem will be discussed on the high level as International Court of Justice, this problem will never continue again. Thank you.
Now you have to get up. France, come back. Come back. So now there will be points to ask questions. So points of information to ask questions. Russian Federation.
Russian Federation delegation has a question: if there would be sanctions for the other countries who hack the other countries, if for example, the hacker is not from the Russia but hacking US, how is the sanctions gonna work out?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Like if the hacker is not governmental, like not from Russia, but doing the hacking to the US. For example, hacker from China is doing hacking to the US, but like from the Russia, living in Russia, and you guys like want to sanction the Russia. How is that gonna work out?
They should realize their nationality and then put the sanction.
But if
No cross-talk.
Okay.
Next question. Other questions? Delegate of the United Kingdom.
So just imagine that your hackers, some hackers hacked Russia, for example, and your hackers got it, but it was from America, and he learned that it was done by American hacker, and he is just making that no one know that. What would you do then?
We have enough the security to know to simplify this task, and we have the intellect to think from which country. We will not, without reason, put sanction in this country, in this country, in this country. Of course, we have the reason, and we will first of all analyze and know from which country is this hacker, and then to put the sanction or to find any solution.
Can I add something? As we said, we have to create an international organization that will control, and only after finding the country that it is fully engaged in that is fully it is proved that this country, for example, as you said, that it is when we will fully prove that the United States attack someone or the other way, then only then we will put sanctions.
Okay, one final question. China.
The delegation as China has a question on your resolution. Dear sponsors of this resolution, how you're going to control your specialized organization of the cybersecurity, which will create the United Nations. So I mean, how you're going to control them if they're going to fake?
Fake?
Yes.
How they are going to fake it's our international organization, and
all the international. My question is, how are you going to control this specialized organization of controlling cyber warfare?
So, As we already know, Model United Nations is also an international organization, and it's successfully maintaining its duties. And there are a lot of like people who work there. They are from other countries, and we believe that in case if our organization will also consist of international members, then it will be not fake. And that's it.
Thumbs up. Thank you very much. Now, the sponsors of 1.2, China, United Kingdom, and Russia, please go up. We're almost done, folks. United Kingdom, aren't you a sponsor?
Yes, I was.
Yes, so come on.
Now you have about 1 minute
To explain.
explain your resolution. The resolution.
So if you amended it, like how did you amend it?
The amendment of the Russia and the sponsor UK and China delegation of these countries think that as a punishment or as we say like a resolution, we should by putting charge of big amount of money, it's gonna be the best resolution we think. If the hackers is gonna hack and attack the countries and get the information, they should pay a double amount of the money of the money that they stole. They should pay the double of them.
So another our amendment consists of, as we said, we are going to divide the Hacking Act into two groups. One of them private. If the private hacktivism is not punishment from the government, we are going
Thank
to.
you, Delegate. Questions? France.
As we already know, the hackers are very anonymous, and it is very difficult to find them. So, for example, you said that we should ask them to pay money, double money which they stole. But how you will find them? It is nearly impossible. For example, you can see that that he is doing his job in China, but he is like in South Africa. So I think that you said
short question.
Short question. So how will you find them with these hackers?
We said that we're gonna put up the IP codes from which personal computers or from which the apps they use from the IP. The specialists can make a program which finds the IP.
We're at the end of the debate, so I would like to the chair would like to favorably see motions to move into voting procedure to vote on these resolutions. Are there points or motions?
China.
The China delegation makes a motion on voting procedure on resolutions.
Okay, thank you, China. Are there any delegates in favor?
Voting procedure. Everybody has to vote. Yes, it passes, majority.
So this motion passes. Now we are in a voting procedure, so you may not leave the council. All doors should be locked.
They are locked, indeed.
And we have two resolutions.
So we have resolution 1.1 and resolution 1.2.
And we begin with resolution 1.1. There should be 2 for support resolution and 2 against this resolution.
Let's say France and
let's say Egypt.
Sure. Delegates wishing to speak against resolution 1.1. Against 1.1. If China
and
Italy. Okay, you have 45 seconds. So first was France, right?
Yes, please.
I have to support my resolution, right?
Yes.
So, as I already said, if we will create the international organization that will control all that, we will never face this problem again. And another way is to recognize hackers as terrorists. It's a really great method because terrorists are now people know who is a terrorist, and everyone is afraid about terrorists. If they hear the word terrorist, then of course they will try to solve this problem. And if we will recognize as hackers as a terrorist, then of course this problem will decrease, and hackers themselves will understand that it is not good, that terrorists are also bad, and that they're doing not a good job. Thank you.
Thank you, delegation of France. Now we give the word to the delegation of Egypt. who support the resolution 1.1. Please, you can listen.
The cyber dilemmas are most useful in our century, and every hackers should know that it's not true to see the others' life, and it's a big crime, and they should not and we should punish them with sanctions and paying monies.
Thank you very much. Now the word goes to the delegation who are against resolution 1.1. Please, China, you have 45 seconds to speak.
Carefully listen to the resolution of the France and United States. We found some imperfection and disadvantages in this resolution. And the first one is how the countries are going to be punished with economical sanctions if we know that this statement is very big and economic sanction is not clarified the punishment. My point is that the imperfection is this resolution, that punishment is not clear.
Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you. Now the word goes to the delegation of Italy. You have 45 seconds to speak.
Delegation Italy against from US. Why? Because they said hackers don't use law, but many hackers.
For best delegate in our committee goes to Fariza. Here you go. Okay, you guys all did a great job. Again, congratulations. Congratulations. Great job, bro. Congratulations. So, you know, the main point of Model UN isn't really awards. It's to come together and learn something new from each other, right? So today what we saw was these three were confident speakers. They did compromise. They worked with somebody else. But what I really want to note is everybody else who participated, right? Because this would not have been possible without your contribution. So you guys wrote, you know, amendments. You gave speeches. Next time, this will incentivize you to do better, you know, to put out your full time and commitment. But these three deserve a round of applause. And thank you to the audience as well. So till next time, and more successes in Model UN. Thank you guys. Congratulations.